Of all the clowns in the circus that is Donald Trump, there's no bigger clown than Kash Patel, Pouty Fuckwinkle's director of the FBI. And like so many others whose heads are firmly up Trump's gargantuan ass, Patel takes Trump's weird edicts and pretends the world doesn't know the truth, that he's a spineless little Trump puppet.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals.
What a tiny little man. Anyway, when Donnie told Patel to indict and arrest James Comey, the former director of the FBI, Trump wanted a perp walk, which is essentially putting handcuffs on a guy and walking him in front of the media. It's designed to humiliate Comey. But a couple things. First, DOJ policy is no perp walks. But here's the second part, and it's so emblematic of this tiny penis armada.
Breaking moments ago, MSNBC has just confirmed, reporting from Reuters, that an FBI agent in the Washington field office has been fired. And they were fired for refusing to arrest and perp walk James Comey. Now, the Washington field office covers the Eastern District of Virginia. Comey is being allowed to surrender for booking at his arraignment next week. They wanted to perp walk Jim Comey.
Yes.
A reminder, Michael, that this is about humiliation and not actually about accountability or justice.
Absolutely, Alicia. It's always about Donald Trump getting retribution for the humiliation he thought or felt was placed upon him. And so to the same extent that, he had his mugshot. Well, he took his mugshot and turned it into a multi-million-dollar T-shirt.
Well, he also tried to steal an election. That's why he got a mugshot in Georgia in the first place.
Yes, but in his mind, that part didn't happen. What did happen was the mugshot. And so anytime he can find a corollary, and this was one, he wants to level that up as best he can and have his minions do the same.
All right, so none of that is a surprise, and neither was Patel's reaction, sounding like the little bitch he is. This small penis tweeted this: MSNBC is still an ass-clown factory of disinformation, same circus animals that slobbered all over perp walks of Stone, Navarro, and Bannon. All right, first of all, Stone, Navarro, and Bannon weren't perp walked, none of them. But here's where the weird homoerotic Kash Patel flew his perv flag. CBS News reports that on the same day of his indictment, Patel wanted to haul Comey in instead of waiting for him to report to court on his own. And this is my favorite part. CBS reports that Patel wanted large, beefy agents to conduct an arrest of Comey in full kit. That means with their Kevlar vests with the FBI logo. Large, beefy agents? Kash, is there something you want to tell us, buddy? So why are Trump and Patel sporting little stiffies to arrest Comey? Because Comey laid a serious turd in Trump's punch bowl. You see, when Comey foobarred the Hillary email investigation, opening it up 11 days before the 2016 election, which didn't exactly help Clinton, Trump assumed he was on board. But Comey turned out to be a pain in Trump's ass. Trump thought, as it turned out quite mistakenly, that Comey would be his guy, his J. Edgar, doing his dirty work. But from day one, Comey said, fuck you, and he started writing his new legacy. Now, as Obama said in the summer of 2016, there was ample forensic evidence that Russian hackers were hacking the DNC and seeding lies and misinformation to help Trump and hurt Hillary. 17 intelligence agencies under Obama and Trump concurred that Russia had interfered.
Mr. Trump has repeatedly denied any improper cooperation with Russia.
But the entire thing has been a witch hunt.
Even Putin said so. When asked if he wanted Trump to win, he said, da.
It has astonished me for quite a while that a lot of people, not just on the right, people sort of in the middle, have been saying for a very long time now that Russiagate was a nothing burger. I think it makes them feel like I was the smart one who said that all along. Russiagate was not a nothing burger. It was a burger. Maybe it wasn't a juicy steak, but it was a burger. I would like to show you one little piece of tape, and then we could talk about it, that I remember, because their contention is that, Putin had no preference in this election. That's why we know this was a conspiracy of Obama. I remember this from Helsinki. They're asking Putin directly in Helsinki.
Found in an appropriate
Putin, did you want
legal
President
framework.
Trump to win the election? And did you direct any of your officials to help him do that?
Да, я хотел, чтобы он выиграл. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And this is my favorite part. Trump even admitted that he fired Comey because he was investigating the Russian interference.
The conversation reinforcing suspicions that Mr. Trump's decision to fire Comey was based on the FBI's inquiry into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, a point the president hinted at with Lester last week.
When I decided to just do it, I said to myself, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
President-elect Trump's first question was to confirm that it had no impact on the election. And then the conversation, to my surprise, moved into a PR conversation about how the Trump team would position this and what they could say about this. They actually started talking about drafting a press release.
You also said you were struck by what they didn't ask.
Very much. No one, to my recollection, asked, so what's coming next from the Russians? How might we stop it? What's the future look like? It was all, what can we say about what they did and how it affects the election that we just had?
So what you got there is obstruction of justice, and of course just add it to the list. But there may be another reason why Trump hates Comey and wants to humiliate him. Remember the P tape?
Today, do you still believe that that tape exists?
I think it probably does, but I wouldn't put 100% certainty on it.
How do you explain if that tape does indeed exist, it hasn't been released?
Well, it hasn't needed to be released.
Why not?
Because I think the Russians felt they'd got pretty good value out of Donald Trump when he was president. Is that the problems we identified back in 2016 haven't gone away and arguably have actually got worse. And I thought it was important to come and set the record straight.
Okay, now a couple things. First, Trumpers will say, the Steele dossier, it's all bullshit, yeah. Look, if you want the truth about the so-called Steele dossier, here's all you need to know. The Republican Party started the Steele dossier as part of their investigation of Trump when he was running for the GOP nomination. And when Trump got the nomination, they didn't need the dossier anymore, so the information was sold to the Democrats.
It's all fake news.
But look, just the idea of a P-tape, as you heard Steele say, was enough for Russia to control Trump. Now imagine what that was like for Comey, a Republican and the director of the FBI. You have to go to Trump and brief him on hookers peeing on him?
I'm about to talk to him about allegations that he was involved with prostitutes in Moscow and that the Russians taped it. I started to tell him about the allegation was that he had been involved with prostitutes in a hotel in Moscow in 2013 during a visit for the Miss Universe pageant, and that the Russians had filmed the episode. And he interrupted very defensively and started talking about it. You know, do I look like a guy who needs hookers? And I assumed he was asking that rhetorically. I didn't answer that, and then I just moved on and explained, sir, I'm not saying that we credit this, I'm not saying we believe it, we just thought it very important that you know.
Did you tell him you thought it wasn't true, or you didn't know if it was true or not?
I never said I don't believe it, because I couldn't say one way or another.
How weird was that briefing?
Really weird.
Hey, Mr. Trump, drop your pants. Prove that I'm lying. Prove I didn't see your dick.
Look, Kash Patel is a moron who almost single-handedly fucked up the Charlie Kirk murder investigation. And he'll fuck this up too. Why? Because if they really want to move forward with this, you know what that means? Trump will have to testify. That's right. Trump will have to show up in court, raise his right hand, and do what he does best. Shit himself.
Goddamn right. I kept my underwear on.
I think the president is definitely f***ing Satan.
They know how to get to me. They had what? You're a nasty person.
Go fuck yourself.
Bloated and fat and disgusting. We're a nation that speaks English.
Look, if something like that thing's ugly.
Who you talking to?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.